And we are live. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Gym in the Crypto episode 468. Today is Wednesday, September 11th, and I'm King, here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto. And of course, we're going to be bringing you not a lot of news today, but some pretty powerful top stories, starting off with Coinbase considering initial exchange offering platform is being reported. Never use BitPay. Hong Kong Free Press slams Bitcoin donation block. VanEck now offering Bitcoin financial product for institutional investors. None of you poor people out there. And last but certainly not least, Domino's Pizza launches $100,000 Bitcoin prize competition in France, but I believe it's actually euros. But we'll get more into that story later. But of course, first, a few quick shout outs. Shannon Allen, good day. Sergeant Crypto, you got a notification. Tiffany from New York, what's going on? Leroy Forbes, Jizzy Mack, Crypto and Culture. There we go. Right, none of you poor people's on the Warrior chat now. Yeah, okay, sounds good. I'm going to check it out on Telegram later, Shannon. What's going on, Allison? All right, before we get started, let's go ahead and check out that price, even though it's on the Dominos article. Boom. Still a lot of chop. As I said, I don't really expect anything to happen with the price until late September, early October, after we kind of see what happens with BACT. But the price today stands at $10,174, up 0.56% for Bitcoin. Ethereum is at $178, down 0.95%. Litecoin is at $69, down 1.54%. XRP is at 25 cents still, is down 1.15%, and Bcash is at $298, down 1.89%. So again, not a lot of big price movements. I think some people are saying that Bitcoin dropped below below $10,000 earlier today. Small dip right before it corrected and came back up. So again, we'll continue to see that chop here for the next few weeks. What's going on, Mr. Gibson Sr.? But top story of the day, people, something we've actually been talking about now. I believe we started talking about late last year, middle to late last year. We kept calling for a Coinbase IPO because a lot of their business moves they were making. You know, you talk about the hire of one of their new C-suite guys. I think it was like the TD Ameritrade president, ex-president or something. They hired Facebook's marketing manager. You know, their PR person. They were hiring a lot of head of projects or other CEOs or C-suite level executives from mainstream companies, from big institutions, organizations. And when we started seeing that, we're like, hey, they're planning on growing this aggressively. They're not paying attention to things like support or things like, anything that has to do with the bottom line customer. All they were really doing was bringing more customers in and trying to create as many products at the same time, bringing in all these C-suite people. To me, that looked like they were trying to launch an IPO. So it's something we kept calling for. We kept figuring it. At one point we said, hey, that thing looked like it was worth about $8 to $10 million. We launched that up to about 10 to 12 billion dollars. But since then, of course, Coinbase has been going through a lot. So I would still put that valuation at like 10 billion. But now they're talking about doing an initial exchange offering instead of an IPO. If they actually do the IEO and open it up to the world instead of just an IPO, which is still technically open, but not in the same sense, which we all know because of the regulatory environment in the United States. If they were to do an IEO, I mean, wow, Coinbase could be worth even more than 10 billion. I'm talking 15, 16 plus billion, depending on who the customer is, who wants to buy it, right? Or buy a piece of it. But again, United States-based cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase has indicated it is considering the launch of an initial exchange offering platform. The news was revealed by Coinbase's head of institutional sales in Asia, Kayvon Piristini, during a panel at the Invest Asia Conference September 11th. Crypto media outlet CoinDesk reports. They're saying this could be announced within months. Boom, Bitcoin Ben, much appreciated. Thank you for the show, guys. Keep kicking ass. You do the same, Bitcoin Ben. Hope all is well your way. And Sergeant Crypto, I just saw that. Sergeant Crypto said, bought that dip. There we go. But during the panel, Piristini reportedly revealed that the exchange believes that an IEO represents a really interesting opportunity for the business, stating that in a nutshell, Coinbase is carefully exploring not only the IEO space, but also STOs, but I can't make any formal announcements right now. Again, their model, they don't even want to launch one themselves. They also want to have that platform as well to have others launch it. which I think would be pretty cool. But I don't think it's big enough. It's not a big enough market to have an entire platform for it. I mean, who all is going to be doing IEOs? You know, you got maybe 7 different companies out there that could do one if they wanted. But again, I would like to see what would happen if Coinbase were to do one themselves. Again, a lot of money, a lot of interest in the space. And if they were to do something like an IEO, how would that work if, let's say, someone from a rival or competing country to the United States decided to, you know, go in there and try to buy up 30%, 40% of Coinbase, basically? I wonder how that would work. There's not really a lot of regulations involved in that right now. Again, the way it is in the traditional sense. But that could definitely change the landscape of cryptocurrency here in the United States. So very interesting to see. And of course, we'll be following Coinbase to see what happens with this, if they actually launch the platform or if they do one themselves. Again, they said within the next few months we should hear some noise about it. So I'm sure we'll find out then. Another story that we've actually talked about, not the story itself, but another company we talked about in the past was BitPay. You know, we said shout out to BitPay. We know you had to go get the bag, you had to get your money, and you were basically only working with institutions. But yeah, I mean, one thing we kept telling people, if you're a mom and pop, if you're a retail investor, if you're not a multi-millionaire, I'm talking like 50 million plus, BitPay doesn't want your business. I mean, it is what it is. I know it's like, wait, what? They started off for the community. For those who don't know what BitPay is basically a cryptocurrency payment processor, which allows, like, hey, if you have a gas station or even if you have an at-home store, you're selling clothes, online business, whatever, people could pay you in Bitcoin, and you could either, or any other cryptocurrency, you can receive it as that, or you can transfer it to the equivalent fiat currency worth at the moment you receive it. So at first, again, they were for mom and pops, for small businesses. They got a little big for their britches. They became the cool kid on the block. Hey, they Antonio Brown is now, you know. The helmet didn't work for us. Now the helmet worked for these institutions type of deal. I don't know. It's crazy. But it looks like BitPay is facing another publicity nightmare amid claims it blocked donations to Hong Kong for several weeks. Now, remember, this is actually coming off the heels of it blocking donations to the Amazon rainforest. One of the fundraising efforts there that was trying to help fight the wildfires in the Amazon rainforest. And they blocked, that was like 100,000 donation they blocked. Again, we had some of our stuff blocked when we realized a couple years ago that they were no longer in it for the little guy, and our accounts basically stopped working. So it looks like, according to a complaint on social media by Tom Grundy on September 11, founder of crowd-funded media outlet Hong Kong Free Press, that's HKFP, BitPay suddenly began failing to pass on funds from donors. They say they accepted Bitcoin support since 2015. Again, I get what you're saying. I started using BitPay in like 2016, man. It used to work perfectly. Since that time, BitPay has processed payments worth just under 15,000 Hong Kong dollars. That's about 1,900 USD. For the past 3 weeks, however, the company has blocked access. Grundy explaining that delays in the fiat banking system were to blame. BitPay, he adds, has kept silent in the face of support requests and complaints. Funds held for weeks simply because Hong Kong banks use SWIFT, not IBANs. He wrote on Twitter, continuing, never use @Bit, and he added them too. He wanted them to know he was talking about them. Never use @BitPay, folks. Truly the worst experience you can imagine. Poor reputation, abysmal communication, horrible customer service, very high fees. Almost any alternative will be better. Again, it's one of those things where I agree and disagree with this statement. If you are a small business, if you're one of these retail investors, if you're a mom and pop, then yes, you should not use BitPay. It would be a terrible experience for you. But BitPay is actually a lot like LA, unfortunately. It's one of those things where a lot of people say they don't like LA, or they didn't enjoy it, or they don't like the food here, or the traffic is this bad and all that stuff. And it's usually like, well, how much money are you working with? If you don't have a lot of money, then yes, all these issues will be real. There's going to be traffic all the time. It's going to be this. It's not going to be ways around it. You're going to be worried about that. But if you have money, it's not as bad. You're actually going out to eat at nice restaurants. Maybe you're sitting in the back of Uber SUV, or taking a helicopter somewhere, right? For some people out there, some of these top-known actors and actresses. But you just have a different experience in the city. It's the same thing at BitPay, people. Yeah, if you're under that $50 million mark, it's probably going to be a terrible experience like it was for me too. But for the people they're actually targeting and marketing to, the big institutions and organizations, it's probably a wonderful experience for them because they are getting all of their attention and support. So again, I don't want to miscommunicate what they are. They've been in this space for a long time. They know how to do their job. as a payment processor. However, if you're a mom and pop or a small business, this is not the payment processor you want to be using. There are plenty of others. I know we use Coin Payments, which is really good. I think Coin Payments has over like 200 different altcoins on it as well, so you can literally accept different types of coins. Even some of the actual exchanges and wallets are starting to do it too. You don't even really need, well, I guess if you wanted to immediately switch it over to fiat currency, you do need a payment processor, but there's a lot of people starting to do it. We can do some more digging on that, but BitPay is not the only show in town, so don't feel like you have to use them. And again, they really don't want you to use them if you're not a bigger fish. And pardon me, one more shout out to Bitcoin Ben. I didn't realize you gave such a big tip, man. I thought that thing said $4.99. Bitcoin Ben gave us a $49.99 tip. Much appreciated again. Yes, I appreciate the support. Sergeant Crypto said IEO sounds like it's for accredited speculators. Of course, we get it. It's for the finer investors, right? You know, it's not just for you bums out there with a little bit of hard-earned money here and there. It's for the money that's been passed down since being passed down. All right. Chats with Decentralized, what's going on? Cool works. Good evening from Atlanta. Antonio from the UK, what's going on? So again, that's BitPay, people. You can't get mad at it. They are who they are. And again, some of you in the crypto space are going to be very wealthy one day. BitPay might be the go-to move for you. So hey, let's encourage them to keep doing their good business. In the meantime, let's find somebody else to replace them at that smaller level where we actually need them at on the mom and pop side. All right, and some more big news today. Van Eck is now offering Bitcoin financial product for institutional investors. I guess I should have put that in the title of the show today. Everything is about institutional and accredited. Yeah, if you're poor, and this is what we told people when Bitcoin Zay and I partnered in 2016 and started different businesses and running left and right in Bitcoin. We were telling people, the community, the retail investors and the mom and pops, were like, hey, when this thing begins to go mainstream, they are literally going to create rules and regulations to keep you out until they don't need to plunder it as much, basically. So right now, when this thing is still ripe for the picking, is at $10,000. It seems like a lot. It's not a lot. It's at $10,000. It is all about getting these big organizations in, institutional investors, accredited investors, basically all those who are wealthy. If this is going to be the biggest transfer of wealth, it's not going to be a transfer of wealth going from poor to rich. They're trying to make the rich fiat transfer their money to rich Bitcoin or other cryptos. And again, we've seen that with these articles. It's not me making this up. But right now, Van Eck is next in line. I like how this Cointelegraph article had everyone pointing to the sky like an ETF. It seems like an ETF, but however, they're kind of quoting and commenting on it as though it's not. They're saying it's actually working more like Grayscale investment fund that they have, the Grayscale Trust. But it looks like the CEO of investment management firm Van Eck Associates, Jan Van Eck, said that the company is now offering a type financial product with exposure to Bitcoin. In an interview with CNBC, you know what? As much as you guys are contraindicators, I give it to CNBC. They get like every crypto interview out there. I'll give that to them. In an interview with CNBC on September 11th, Van Eck said that the product offered by the firm is a broker-traded fund and is currently not available to the public, but to, you guessed it, institutional investors only. Van Eck further specified that it will trade over the counter, something we talked about yesterday, and will not trade on a national securities exchange. The broker-traded fund is called Van Eck SolidX Bitcoin Trust 144A shares. So my thing too, you want to talk about rules and regulations. This is what's crazy. And again, we talked about this yesterday with the over-the-counter trading and how you don't know what's what because it's peer-to-peer trading. Stop calling it over-the-counter. It's peer-to-peer trading. So you have all these regulations, all these taxes, or at least they're trying to create and enforce all these new regulations and taxes about trading on exchanges, right? Well, how are you going to let an organization as big as Van Eck trade what could possibly be billions of dollars over the counter all the time, right? And they're saying they're not trading on the exchange basically because, or the national ones, because you might not be able to trust all the price movements and volume. I get it. But also it's one of those things where you're applying all this pressure to, again, the mom and pop, the retail investors, the small guy out there, but you're not applying the same pressure to the likes of Van Eck, which of course we kind of expect. Now, the caveats to get exposure to Bitcoin looks like qualified investors that are eligible to purchase the product must be an institution that has $100 million. Do you hear this madness, people? $100 million. And I quote, any individual, no matter how rich, can't buy it. It has to be an institution. It has to be a corporation, a bank, but a hedge fund can buy it. A mutual fund can buy it. And this was being said by Van Eck. People, if you don't see anything wrong with this paragraph, there is something wrong with you in this industry. And don't get me wrong, of course, I get it from the business end. I love it. You know, you talk about Uber and Lyft, two different types of, well, I mean, at this point, Uber has UberX and Uber Ride or Uber Pool and everything. But before they had UberX and Uber Pool, Uber was more like the mid-level to luxury rideshare service, right? Lyft said, hey, we'll come in at the low end and kind of toward that middle level. Since then, both services I know have the different levels, especially Uber. Again, they go from Uber Pool, which is basically like a nicer taxi, Uber X, the affordable Uber, the regular Uber, Uber Black, Uber Select, all the way up to Uber Luxury. If you come to LA during an NBA All-Star weekend or something, I mean, you can literally get an Uber in a Maybach or something. It's crazy. But, you know, they have the different levels. So it's the same what we're seeing in our industry. Coinbase is doing it, Gemini, Binance, any other company. Everybody's trying to say, well, if you guys have this level of this, you know, if you're Binance, we'll do Cryptopia. If you're, you know, Coinbase, will do this. It's the same thing. So I get them from the business sense of them saying, you know what? Let's not offer our product to retail investors because everybody's trying to do it, Gemini, all these guys. Let's not do it to just accredited investors because, again, people are already doing that. People are already going after that crowd. You're talking about Morgan Creek, Anthony Pompliano. They're going after that crowd. So what's the next thing? All right, well, we don't want to do retail. We don't want to go to a credit. Let's just take them all. Let's go after the entire institution, right? From a business perspective, I am with this. It's less clients, less work, and more money. Instead of going after 100 million people to get $10,000 or whatever, they're saying we're going after 10 people or 10 organizations, 20 organizations, 100 organizations, and we're charging them at least $100 million, or they need to have at least $100 million under their control before we even accept them. And of course, you make it look prestigious. Like if you want to come to our club, you got to be, you know, you have to have these requirements. You have to do this. And next thing you know, you generate client interest, right? So from a business point, I definitely get this. I'm with it. If it was my business, I would do it the same way. However, from a community standpoint and just from basic cryptocurrency in general, even as an institution, this is crazy. If you're an institution and you have $100 million under you that you can actually spend on crypto or on projects or whatever, right? Why would you go to their fund? Just buy the Bitcoin yourself. I mean, that is what we say every day. It's across the board. If you have all of this, you don't need to go derivative on top of derivative on top of derivative, because you know what's going to happen here is the same thing we're seeing with BAC. The moment they actually get some good clientele, you know, a lot of clients, they get a couple billion under their control. Well, now we need insurance for everything. Then an insurance thing is going to step up. Well, now we need to regulate this insurance person, as well as make sure we need to regulate you to make sure you're AML and KYC compliant, all this stuff. Okay, now we need to hire. It's just this spiraling thing of derivatives when at the end of the day, it's all about the asset, which in this case is Bitcoin. So again, it's kind of crazy that this is even becoming a niche in the business or the industry, but I mean, we'll see more of it. When asked about the significance of the firm's product and whether it represented a kind of breakthrough for the industry, Van Eck addressed regulatory issues regarding cryptocurrency and traditional exchanges. He said that Van Eck Associates is trying to bridge the gap, something we say every day. Hey, everybody out there, just say we got it from Gentlemen of Crypto. Why would that hurt you? Just say we watched Gentlemen of Crypto. Between the traditional finance sector and what he perceives to be the largely unregulated crypto sector. And again, you can go into more in this article. This is on Cointelegraph. You know, this lawyer, Jake Chervansky, commented on what they're actually doing. He said this is misleading. The Van Eck Solid X Bitcoin Trust is not an ETF. It looks exactly like the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which was launched almost 6 years ago. So again, like I said, they're doing something that people are already doing. Grayscale went after those institutional investors, which of course at the time they really had to. I get how that worked. And Van Eck is saying, hey, let's just go after the whole organization. As a business, I'm with it. I get it. But for those people who that was $100 million, I mean, if anything, come our way, man. We'll show you what to do with that. All right. Last but not least, a great news story. Let me check out a couple of these quick comments first. Let's see. Chats with Decentralized say you don't technically need BitPay if banks would accept BIP70 non-custodial systems and just let you hook into them, but no, the banks got to always get in the way. You know, I'm glad you mentioned that. For those who watched yesterday, we were talking about BIP's Bitcoin improvement proposals. Chats with Decentralized is talking about BIP70, as he says, a non-custodial system for banks. And to me, banks actually accepting that is the same way of Coinbase accepting, I can't even think of it right now. When we were trying to fix the blockchain about a year or two ago, I can't remember what they didn't want to do off the top of my head. Antonio from the UK, help me. You know what I'm talking about. Coinbase would not switch something over that they actually could have done. SegWit. Coinbase wouldn't do SegWit 2x. That's what I'm thinking of. They want to do SegWit, right? They kept making excuses about why they couldn't do it and all that. Everyone knew why they didn't want to do it. It would hurt their business, basically, essentially, with cheaper fees on the Bitcoin network, faster speeds and all that. But they just didn't do it. And then finally they did like 9 months later, like after everyone else did it, they was like, okay, well, we did SegWit too. And it was like, come on, like you guys are like 9 months after the fact talking about how we update our software. To put this in perspective for you, that's like if Apple had a new update that was already ready to roll out, that was going to patch a bug in your phone. Like maybe your battery life sucks, right? And they already had the update to patch that battery life, and they sat on it for 9 months. And then after you bought another phone and started using other products and other people made these batteries for you, then they released it. It was like, all right, we got your battery update. You're like, what? Like, since we asked for the battery update, this is already the third generation of the new battery updates. Like, what are you talking about? So Coinbase was guilty of that. But to me, this is, this is very similar as well. Banks, they have the technology to accept BIP70 as well as many other things. But of course, they don't want to because that is literally them opening up the castle doors saying, hey, come on in, folks. The crypto is officially here to stay. No, first they want to create their JPM coin and the likes, and then they'll open up and they'll start accepting these new technologies. So a little bit more time, but that was pretty funny. What's going on, Valdez, Granville, Bluefig, Financial Walled Gardens, you know it. Tony Noli, PFC Wills, what's going on? PFC Wills said the live chat is acting janky. You know what? Well, we tried to fix it the other day, or a few weeks ago, we thought we fixed it. Our in-house moderator, Alex, sent me some CSS code that I put in there, but we'll look at it again and see what is going on with it. All right, final story, definitely last but not least. Listen, Dominos, you got to give a shout out to Dominos. They have been in this Bitcoin game for a while now. I would even go as far as to say Dominos is a crypto OG, people. I mean, put some respect on their name. Speaking of which, real quick, I know I'm all over the place. PFC Wells, Trek, I saw the comment you put on the video that, yesterday. It was pretty funny, and I'm with it. Domino's Pizza launches a $100,000 Bitcoin prize competition in France. Again, this was actually not $100,000. It was more than that because this was in euros. It was 100,000 euros. But according to a company tweet on September 6th, so this is a few days old, Domino's Pizza France initiated the 100,000 euro giveaway on the occasion of its 30th anniversary. Started on September 4th, the contest will allow buyers to participate in games or ordering pizzas from Domino's until October 2nd, while purchase registration will be available till October 6th, according to the campaign's website. So still not too late. As noted in the competition rules, the amount awarded in Bitcoin will have a value of 100,000 euro, calculated according to exchange rate on the day of purchase of Bitcoin by the organizer of the game if the winner picks Bitcoin. Wow. Eventually, Domino's Pizza plans to transfer Bitcoin prize to the winner's wallet on December 16, 2019, according to the rules. Again, listen. Mainstream adoption, actually using Bitcoin, the application of it, as well as educating people on it. I mean, this is all happening at one time with Domino's Pizza. I think this is super cool to see that they're doing it. It also goes to show that, hey, they must have the, this must, a place like Domino's, a corporate place like Domino's, they're going to crunch these numbers. Does this make sense? Does this giveaway make sense to give away 100,000 euro in Bitcoin to just promote it and have people come in and play, do this contest? Apparently that's a yes, people. It makes sense, and this is something we try to stress to other businesses. It's like, it makes sense to accept it. Like, you'll make the money. You will make more money because there will be people coming to you that otherwise would not have. So pretty cool to see that. And again, they're talking here at the end of the article some other blockchain related initiatives Domino's has done. And of course, they teamed up with Dutch blockchain firm SingularityNet to deploy its blockchain-enabled artificial intelligence technology. Specifically, it intends to improve Domino's supply chain processes and logistics in Malaysia and Singapore. So they already deployed it. They're working on it. And again, I think this is pretty cool. I can't read what I'm assuming is French on their Twitter feed. I saw this earlier, but I did, as I scrolled through all the comments and retweets and replies, one thing I did keep seeing for sure was Bitcoin. You can see Bitcoin here. BTC, another one. Where is it at? Let's see. Oh, here we go. BTC here. Bitcoin with a heart here. Bitcoin here. So there's a bunch of exclamation points. Bitcoin, smiley faces with dollar tongues, winks, hearts. Everyone seems pretty excited about this. So this is, again, pretty cool to see Domino's doing this. And, you know, I'll actually give you all a quick little secret. What is it? A secret Domino's pizza? I won't say secret, but somebody put me on a new Domino's pizza. One of these college students out here as a recent. It was, I think it was the light garlic sauce with the chicken, cheese, and whatever third item you want to put on there. But people, I'll give it to them. For them to be corporate, it was pretty good. And they have a lot of competition in California, right? All right, what's going on, P-Man Van? Other than that, that is the show for today. Hope you all have a happy Wednesday. Of course, if you enjoyed this, please make sure you smash that like and share and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Other than that, I will see you all tomorrow. Cheers.